Welcome to the Mama Mudra Podcast, where the future of wellness is happiness. I'm Kate Thompson-Duwe. I'm an entrepreneur, a mother of three, a very happy wife, a lifelong creative, and someone who has spent years chasing success, only to realize that the real success I was missing was peace. Mama Mudra was born because I saw a gap between the glossy world of wellness and the messy reality most of us live in, full of children, careers, expectations, responsibility, and this very human craving to feel good in our own skin. This podcast, this platform, these events, the studio that I sit in right now, these are my love letter to anyone who wants to redefine success as vitality, connection, and calm. So today I am in a podcast studio, recording my very first ever podcast, which I must say I'm very happy at how natural and how easy it's feeling thus far. I think when something is just inherently how you feel and what you believe, and it comes naturally, it feels easier than if you're forcing something. So I wanted to start the podcast series with a bit of an intro into Mama Mudra, the business, why I'm doing this podcast, and where to from here. I had a consideration that it seems a little bit arrogant to assume that people want to hear me talk and what I have to say. So I hope I'm not wrong, and I hope that you do. But I feel like the feedback that I've gotten thus far, just from the content that I've put out on social media, has been so good that I do believe that there's an audience out there that's invested. And really the overarching message that I want to put across, and the philosophy that frames everything that we're doing, is the future of wellness is happiness. And it didn't come from a plan. This wasn't something that I always knew that I wanted to do or had been working on behind the scenes for years. It actually came, if anything, from a complete and utter lack of a plan. I looked successful from the outside for many years, and to everyone in my life, especially people super close to me, it really looked like I had everything together and everything was working well, and it really was for a very long time. But I realized relatively recently that my career, which I'd been focusing on for a hell of a long time and was doing well at, just wasn't making me happy. Wellness was the obvious place to change to, because it's always been a big part of my life. And it's something that people ask me about often. But then when I looked at the wellness industry and what I wanted to do in wellness, there was such an overall feeling of negativity. The messaging coming from the wellness industry has been so punitive for so long. And it didn't sit well with me that we are conveying this negative messaging but expecting a positive outcome. I really was sick and tired of hearing these constant messages about what not to eat, what not to drink, what not to do, what to restrict, when to sleep, all of these. It's quite a lot and quite intentional and intense in the way that it comes across. And it really creates a lot of guilt and anxiety and comparison, which really isn't healthy. And I really wanted to change that narrative and make it more of a positive message coming out. From a cellular perspective, you need to be giving yourself positive reinforcement and positive messaging in order to feel positive and feel good. And so I was kind of thinking about all these things and what it is that I wanted to do, and that was kind of where I was coming from. And during that time, I turned 50. And I think a lot of people in my network don't necessarily know my age. It's not something you talk about with your friends all the time, especially not your closest friends. And my husband's younger. Most of my friends are younger. In fact, one of my all-time best friends is significantly younger. And I've just always been attracted to people of all different age groups. So I understand why people didn't really know, the age bracket that I was in. And so I turned 50, and I had a lot of people come to me and be like, I didn't realize that you were turning 50. What do you do to stay in shape? What do you do for your energy? And all these things. And the questions weren't just superficial and weren't just about staying in shape and staying fit. They were a lot to do with energy and emotion. And I realized that the conversations that I was having weren't just about anti-aging protocols. They were really about joy and consistency and intention. And that's kind of how subconsciously, without realizing I was doing it, how I've always approached these things. And I feel like that's had a huge impact on how I live my life. And so Mama Mudra started as a desire to really share all of this information and what worked for me. So not chasing perfection, but chasing
obviously tools and optimization strategies, but how to just really love where you are in your life regardless, because aging is happening to us whether we like it or not. We certainly can't control it. We certainly can't stop it. And if we did stop it, I can promise you we'd have much bigger problems. So, let's embrace it. Let's be grateful for it. Let's always wake up and be happy that we get to age and choose to age well. So during the course of my life and the fact that I've always had a focus on aging well, I have a network of experts. I certainly am not saying that I am an expert in all things. I'm not in any manner of means. I am an expert in what works for me, absolutely, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for everyone out there. So really a big intention from my side, and a large reason why we're doing this podcast, was to bring in the people that I work with, to allow everyone that follows me to meet, get to know them and even ask questions of them that pertain to your wellness journey. So speaking about the search for happiness and the ongoing, sort of quest for happiness, from a cellular perspective, it's not just an emotional imperative that we need to feel happy, but it really is an anti-aging imperative for those people that are really fixated on that anti-aging part of wellness and longevity. Joy is going to make you age better. From a cellular level, the happier you are and the more happiness you feel, and a neurological perspective as well, the better you're going to age. The slower your cells are going to age and the slower your systems are going to age, because stress ages us. It speeds everything up, all the bad things, and joy regenerates us. So we I really believe strongly in the fact that it's a conscious choice every day to make sure that you are choosing happiness, but also to make sure that you're choosing to have your foundations in place. So, it's not always easy and it's not always possible, but when you can, choose to eat well, choose to minimize your alcohol intake. I am certainly not one to say no to a glass of wine at a nice meal. In fact, that's one of the things that really brings me the most joy, is drinking good wine and eating good food with the people I love. And that's how I've been brought up. My family are all like that. We get together and we consume copious amounts of wine. And I wish that I was one of those people that could say that I'll cut alcohol out completely. But I love having a glass of wine with my friends. So as I said, not everything is able to be perfect, but when you can get your foundations in place and choose happiness, choose good sleep, choose good food, choose to have people around you that inspire you and make you feel good, and choose movement. Make sure that you can find a form of movement, a way to move that you want to do every single day that makes you feel amazing, so that you are getting the benefits of moving for your body. All of the things that I talk about, the peptides, the biohacking tools, the photobiomodulation beds, which is red light therapy, the ozone therapies, all of these things that I do and that I absolutely love, yes, they are incredible, but your foundations have got to be in place. So if there's one thing that I can really sort of talk about, and there's one thing we're going to bring across in our events as well, is find the thing that works for you, that sparks your joy, and chase that, because ultimately also consistency is key over everything. It's also in the way that you talk to yourself. One of the people that I have spoken to on the podcast, and that I'm going to be doing a lot more with, and who just inspires me so much, is Matt from Neurovita. And we were having a conversation about the neural pathways and how they can reform. So speaking about brain health, and this is all coming from lifestyle choices and habits and things that we do on a daily basis. So where you can wake up and choose happiness, you can wake up and choose to move, you can wake up and choose to eat well, also wake up and choose to be nice to yourself. Just choose to just be kind. I had someone say to me a long time ago, when you're talking badly to yourself, because I went through a very, very long period of being very hard on myself, and I still have those tendencies, and I see it in one of my children, in fact, and I want to protect her from it at all costs, because being an over-perfectionist is not a great place to be. It might look good from the outside, but it's not a happy place to be when you're never satisfied with what you have achieved, even when it's a lot. And I had someone say to me, when you're talking to yourself in this way, imagine you're talking to your child or your best friend. Would you talk in that same way? Would you say the same things? Would you speak in the same tone? And I can pretty much guarantee you that the answer is hell no, because it was for me. So when you wake up and you're saying to yourself, this is what I've got to do, and I'm tired, so I really feel like a donut for breakfast, or 2 sugars in my coffee because I feel like I need the boost. You know what? If that's what you need in that time and that day because you haven't had enough sleep, maybe give yourself the benefit of the doubt, not a lot, not often, but every now and then, and do it in such a way that you're saying, if this is what's going to get you through the day and it's going to get you to end the day feeling like you've gotten through all of your stuff, it's okay. Not everything has to be perfect all the time. So really what we are wanting to do here is try and encourage people to identify the triggers, the things that make you feel horrible. Avoid those. Avoid your unhappiness triggers and find your happiness triggers. So Matt, again, from Neurovita will speak about brain typology and how we can identify and understand the type of brain that we have. And when we understand a little bit more about that, we can identify and understand the things that are going to trigger the most happiness in us. Once we've done that, and we know that we've got the foundations in place in terms of the health, the sleeping, the eating, the people surrounding ourselves, the way we speak to ourselves, then absolutely start layering with the peptides and all of those amazing treatments that I'm also bringing people forward to discuss, and that anyone listening to this will have access to as well. By all means, start building on your wellness protocols, because I'm at a stage now that I feel like my foundations are pretty well in place, and I do the peptides and I do all those additional things, and I genuinely can say that I have never ever felt better. I feel phenomenal, and I want everyone to feel this good, because it's one thing waking up and getting shit done, but you want to feel amazing while you're doing it. Otherwise, what's the point? If you're getting home at the end of the day and you're getting into bed and you are getting into a beautiful bed and you've got all the material trappings and you look like you've gotten everything together and you've, achieved so much, but you're really unhappy, I don't know if you'd rather be there or maybe have less, but feel happy. So I think that ultimately what the purpose of this journey is for me, and hopefully for you guys, is to really go on a journey towards finding happiness. And, wellness is one thing that we all talk about and we all want to achieve. Let's live these long lives, but let's live them well, and let's live them feeling joy and feeling happiness and really, really waking up and being grateful and loving what it is that we're getting to do, because ultimately I don't know that there's much of a point otherwise. And also teaching great things to our children, those of us that are parents, let's impart this wisdom to them, because there is so much out there that we can choose and we can benefit from. So let's encourage good habits. Let's show them what it feels like to live a really happy and productive and good life that we're enjoying. The partners that I am bringing forward in this on this journey, rather, are people that I've worked with mostly for years. Some of them a lot less so. Matt is one that is a new partner, but Nina, my trainer, who will be at a lot of the events, Janae from One Flow, who I practice with most days, are people that I've worked with for many, many, many years. So they are the experts that I'm going to bring forward in my journey, because I see them as my experts. That's not to say they're the only experts. So if anyone has anyone that they want me to speak to, please let me know why, and we can look at bringing them on as future guests as well. But for now, the next iteration and the next evolution in this Mama Mudra journey, sorry, the alliteration there is hard when you're speaking fast, is to launch Sunshine People. So Sunshine People is going to be launched at the same time as these podcast episodes go live. And Sunshine People is the event arm of Mama Mudra. It is we've already got 3 events lined up, and the events that we're going to do are going to bring these experts that I keep talking about to people that come to the events. We're going to talk about brain types, we're going to talk about the neuroscience of happiness, and we're going to talk about the fact that the future of wellness is happiness. And we're going to discuss it, and we're going to figure out how to find as much happiness as we can together as a community and for ourselves individually when we go home. And I really believe that that's going to be key to everyone feeling like they're living a happier life, hopefully for longer, and building a community that we can do some really amazing things together. I foresee this growing really big. I hope that it's not just me that sees it. I really hope that everyone else sees the vision, because I'm getting super excited about it. I want to be able to make movement accessible to people that maybe it hasn't been accessible to before now. I am under no pretense that not everyone can tap into the same resources that I tap into. Maybe you're not based in Cape Town and you can't get to them physically, but also there could be a host of other reasons why you can't tap into the same people. So let's make it accessible to everyone. Let's try and figure out a way that everyone can figure out their happiness and their way to tap into their joy in all aspects of their lives. So Sunshine People, when it launches, is going to be the way that we can bring people together in real life to talk about and to experience the things that we're going to talk about in the podcast and on social media. We're going to launch websites very soon for Mama Mudra and for Sunshine People. And it's really going to be where neuroscience, movement, breathwork, and joy meet. And it's going to be the physical manifestation of the philosophy and the content that I've been talking about endlessly for a while now. It's funny because I did a post relatively recently talking about how not everyone's always behind you from day one of your journey. And it's not for any negative reason. It's not because they don't love you and support you. It's just because either they're so focused on their own journey or they're kind of withholding, not judgment, but they're withholding their comments until they understand more about what it is that you do. And I am seeing, like on a daily basis, the change in terms of the volume of people commenting and showing support. And so I feel like it's kind of becoming more apparent now what it is that we're trying to do, and I really hope so. And I feel like as it becomes more apparent, people seem to be getting more excited. So I really, really hope that you love what it is that I'm saying. If there's anything that you feel like you didn't understand or you'd like to know more about, please let me know. Comment with a question, whatever it is on the Sunshine People pages, on the Mama Mudra pages. Let us know if there's a topic that you want us to go into more detail on. This podcast series is the first of many. I have loved being here today. And as my husband said when I first came up with the idea, I love to talk. So this really is very well suited to me. So I see myself doing a lot more of this. So if there's a topic that anyone wants me to go into more detail on, let me know. If there are questions unanswered, let us know and we'll answer them. And please engage. And yeah, I really, really hope to meet you all in person, whoever's listening and watching this, at our events. And I really hope that everyone benefits in some way from this, because I have already benefited so much just from putting this together and learning the lessons myself that I'm talking about. You know, I feel like I embody them and I live them, but you never know everything about anything. So I feel like the more I talk about it, the more I'm understanding things. And it's a great place to be. So I hope everyone feels the same. And thank you for being here in the first place. And here's to happiness.